everyone, Backyard Farmer Pat here. Today I'm in my sister's backyard and I'm gonna do an air layer of her June plum tree and her ackee tree. So as you guys know, she has two huge June plum trees. These trees are just a little bit over a year old, but she's got hundreds and hundreds of June plums. You guys can see it's practically laden with June plums. And I'm about to move on to my new forever home. And I want to make sure instead of me going out and buying a June plum tree and buying an ackee tree, I'm going to take air layers of her tree so that I can have my own trees for free. So for air layering, first of all, let me tell you what air layering is. Air layering is taking a part of the tree and causing it to grow roots so that you can transplant it. So it's different from a cutting. If you guys have seen my cutting video, in cuttings you take a small cutting of a tree or a flower or a plant and you stick it in the soil until it catches the roots, and then you have your own plant. But a lot of times with cuttings, often the cuttings fail. So with air layer, you are sure to get a fully grown tree that is already bearing fruit. So whenever you're air layering a plant, if you air layer from a plant that is already bearing fruit, you're gonna get fruit within say a year or so. So this tree, as you can see, is already bearing. It has various stages of June plums. It has this tiny June plums here. It has some larger June plums that are getting bigger and ready to eat. So here's a branch. I don't want to take off our branches that have June plums. So this one doesn't have any June plums on it, but I know it's ready to bear. So I'm gonna take an air layer of this tree. So for air layering, I have these things that I bought online, but for air layering you can actually use a plastic bag, a Ziploc bag. You can use, you can just use saran wrap, you can use foil, you can use anything that keeps the water in. You can use an empty plastic cup, multiple things. So pretend that this is a plastic cup. I'm gonna use this to do the air layer. So you need a container to hold the dirt. You need a sharp knife. Normally I like to use a smaller knife, but I'm using what's available, so I'm using this larger knife. Then you need a growth medium, some kind of soil for the roots to develop in. You can usually use a sterile soil. You don't want to use garden soil. Some people use potting soil. I prefer to use like peat moss, peat humus, or just a sterile soil like coconut coir is excellent to use. So I'm going to use this today. So to air layer, the first thing you do is you find your leaf nodes and find a nice branch that you think will make a nice tree. This is just a straight branch. Ideally, I prefer to have a branch that has, you know, multiple forks, so that because however you cut it, this is gonna be the new tree. So I guess this has 1, 2, 3 branches. So this is a good branch. Plus it doesn't have anything now, so I'm not interrupting my sister's tree. So you're gonna make a cut in the bark. You're gonna make a cut in the bark. You're gonna cut through the bark all the way around. A clean cut all the way around. If you have like one of those little pocket knives, it's really good. Gonna make like a 2-inch cut, or it's like an 1.5 inch cut, and I'm gonna cut it again. So I'm making a clean cut all the way around the bark. So I haven't done a lot of air layers, but I can tell you I have done some on like my crotons, because with crotons, when you do a cutting on a croton, you have to do like a very small cutting, like a 6-inch cutting, and wait for it to grow. When I did my air layer, I did it on a very big piece, like a 2-foot piece with leaves on. So I had a full croton tree. All right, so I've cut all the way around, make sure I feel the bark, and then I slice through, and then this should peel off like you're peeling off a shirt. If you do it right, it's gonna peel off just like you're peeling off a shirt. See, look at that, guys. Come real close. So I cut the sides first, and then I peel it off, and you can see the green here. That's the cambium layer, and the cambium layer, that's a layer that all the growth hormones, and that's a layer that basically flows from the roots all the way up to the tip, and from the tip all the way back, and that's what forms the leaves. That's where roots will form. So I'm gonna remove this. So here's what it looks like. This is what it looks like when you peel the bark off. And that slippery green stuff, that's a cambium layer. That causes the plant to grow and also causes roots to form. So now we have a clean strip. So I've done this before, and I did this once on my June plum tree in the other house. But the mistake I made is I didn't scrape it properly all the way around. So because the cambium layer is where you can actually get new roots and new plant to grow, if you leave any of it at all on, then it's gonna grow back. It's just gonna heal over and it's gonna continue growing. So I wanna make sure I completely disrupt the cambium layer, and what's gonna happen is new roots will form up here. So I'm making sure, not making the same mistake that I did the last time. The last time I did most of it around and just one little tiny strip was left and it wasn't successful. So in order to be successful, make sure you properly scrape the cambium layer off so you don't see any green at all. All I'm seeing now is the white of the bark. No cambium layer is left. All right, so now once that's done, then I'm gonna put a little rooting hormone. It may not be necessary, but you know what? It's always good to put some rooting hormone to make it more successful. And I tell you, literally, you can smell the June plums even in the bark. So I have a little cheap, inexpensive rooting hormone here. You can use any one that you want online. This one is called Take Root, rooting hormone. I'm just gonna dip my finger in it and oops, put it all over here. Some people actually like to put it in water first. You can do that if you want. I'm just making sure that everything is well covered. As you guys know, each of these nodules here is where a potential leaf or roots can grow. So I want to make sure that we get some roots in here. All right, so that's it. And then now we're going to cover it with soil. All right, so I decided to show you a simpler way. You can get the fanciness, but I wanted to go out there, and if you have a friend who has a tree that you love, that you want to get the same fruits, I don't want you to have to go out and buy anything. So I'm showing you a very easy way. So you get an old water bottle, you cut down the middle like this. Well, first you cut across. So you cut the bottom off. Then you cut down the middle. Oops. So now you have an open bottle. You can take the wrapper off. And what we're gonna do is, this is gonna fit around the tree. So now I'm going to take my soil. I've already soaked it with water. I poured that whole thing of water in it so it's nice and wet. And I'm going to add the soil here. So remember, I've already put my rooting hormone to help with the rooting action. So then I'm going to just take this and wrap it around the tree trunk. Oops. Oh, there's a little trick here. You can also do this with a Ziploc bag, which is a little bit easier. Ah, there we go. So we wrap it around the tree trunk. And if this works in a few weeks, in about 4 to 6 weeks, you're gonna see roots. The reason I like to use these clear plastic bags, clear plastic container, drinking container also, is that you'll be able to see in a few weeks, you'll start to see the roots form. Once you see the roots form, that means you're good to go. I'm going to actually soak this again. I did soak it before, but it feels like it could be soaked up a little bit more. So I'm going to get some more water and soak this one more time, and then we'll add some saran wrap to make it stay more moist. Then we'll cover it up with some foil. So I just soaked it. I got some additional water. I just soaked it completely, so it's thoroughly soaked right now. Then to keep the water in, This is just regular cling wrap. So I'm gonna stick it up here. Make sure that everywhere, see the water dripping off. Make sure that everywhere is touching the branch. Then I'm gonna wrap the cling wrap around it. So I'm gonna wrap, oops. I'm gonna start from right here. Hold it up. Make sure enough soil is there. Wrap the top. And go around. You don't want it to dry out. There's one thing you don't want is this to dry out. So you want to make sure you're going around and around. Round and round and round we go. Okay. Go around. Then I'm going to take a little bit of electrical tape and tape the bottom and the top. And I have my electrical tape here. Get a little piece of electrical tape. And if you have the black tape, it's fine. Any tape probably work, but I like electrical tape. I think it holds a little bit better. So I'm kind of sealing the water in here. Get another piece for the top. Because remember, this is going to be locked up like this for at least maybe 4 or 5 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks until we see roots. So you don't want it to dry out because the roots are not going to thrive. They're not going to grow. So put one piece on top. So it's a nice airtight seal. And then you want to stimulate root growth, right? Where do roots grow? Roots grow underground. So by covering it with some foil, it's going to make the area dark and it's going to stimulate being under the ground, and that's going to help the roots to grow quickly. So it's not the prettiest, but it works. And you guys will know if it works. I'll come back in maybe 4 weeks and check on it and see if we have roots. All right, so now I'm just gonna repeat that for the ackee tree, and I'm gonna go to my friend's house and get a OTET apple tree air layer so I can have all my free plants for when I move on. So till next time, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and hit like and subscribe and hit the thumbs up button. That's the like button. Hit thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe so you can get notified when I post the next video showing the results of this. All right, till next time, don't forget to follow me on Instagram also, where I post a lot more reels and I post a lot more pictures and videos of my life. Bye now.